Hello, I'm Mark.
I'm Casey.
I have the tour.
That's right. You're welcome.
Welcome to the Tesla Life number 398. But first, we're going to roll that title and be right back.
You're watching the Tesla Life Express.
The tour.
Hello, everybody. Welcome so much for being with us today. And we've got our special guests in the fluffy earmuffs in unicorn hat with us. Moto has joined us, Casey's daughter. But of course, Casey's holding Moto. How are you today, sir?
Doing quite well. We had some interesting stories for today, and that was exciting to talk about because
Two.
in
Yeah.
current events, we're talking all about government money, and so
Well, that's going to mix in very nicely with today's article we wanted to touch base on. And this, of course, is we've heard recently that the new administration has put a pause on the federal funding of charging infrastructure in the United States. Um, it happened quickly after the new administration got into power, and at this point, it has been paused. But this article that we've linked in the notes below, if you'd like to go to it, it talks about how a number of different automakers are asking the Trump administration to please reinstate this funding feature, which allows states to collect money for the deployment of new fast chargers in their regions. And in the article, it points out the companies that were asking for this to happen included General Motors, Stellantis, Toyota, and others that have encouraged the Trump administration to reevaluate their decision.
members of the IANA charging network, basically.
Yeah. So this this I guess this particular program, which has been marred by some skepticism. Some have said it has not rolled out quickly enough. We've heard some that even have said that only two or three stations have been put into play since its actual submission into law. But according to the real facts, there have been 126 public charging stations across 9 different states that have been green lighted by this particular funding and have been put into reality. So these stations actually exist now because of this particular funding program. But what is peace. But what we're finding out is that since this is paused, we've got these different electric vehicle manufacturers that are saying, please bring it back because, of course, we need more charging. We need the ability to push more charging so that more people will buy electric cars so we can reach our mandates so we don't have to buy credits or pay fines because there are mandates in place, which of course maybe the new administration will play with those too, although they'll have to fight certain states in order to do so. So there is this possibility that some want it back, and including non-traditional auto, or I guess it would be legacy auto, is actually asking for these to be reinstated to allow people to qualify for these grants and get these stations in play. Casey, what did you think on this? Does it make sense that some of these groups like GM and Stellantis and Toyota are asking for this? Actually, notable, Tesla's not on this list at all.
But for mommy,
It does because you've got, like you said, they've got they still have emissions requirements to make, and even when they get what they want for rolling back stuff, it's not going to roll back all the way. because they can't. If they rolled it back to where it was, they were already they're gonna have to still comply with that. They got to wait for it to happen. They got to wait for the lawsuits. So if they can just sell more electric cars and get that out of their hair in the meantime, that's good. But
Yeah.
then you still got Canada and Mexico. As far as the places that we those plants, those cars, like we talked about on the main show this week, they all come from the same place. They all go to basically the same regs. So even if they get them loosened here in the states, it won't do much for them to not try and make sure that the electric still works.
Yeah, and some of the pundits of this plan have said that, you know what, it's been too slow. Not as many states have embraced the funding and put stations in play, and therefore we should stop it and abandon it. A classic example would be Florida that we talked about before the show, where Florida had indicated that, you know, as really a political statement. No, we're not going to take any money for this. We don't want it, and we're not going to be part of it. And they opted out.
And you say they and them in Florida, but really, the Florida businesses and organizations, they all lined up. They had their plans ready to go. They wanted to know how to get the money, and they asked the state, and they asked the state, and the state finally said they got tired of of having to answer the question. So they put up a campaign answer from their governor, and basically said we're not going to do it. And so now you got millions of dollars that these places were eligible for and had plans for, and they said, look, we're going to make it all great, and it's going to happen. And they said, yeah, no, we're not gonna publish how to get the money. We've got it. You can't have it. We're not going to take it. And so a couple of businesses said this is freaking stupid because now the pot was it was a big pot like the lottery. It wasn't like
Yeah.
you get a million and you get a million and you get a million. Once it's gone, it's gone. So if we don't get in line, if you don't tell us how to get in line, where to get in line, it's going to be gone before we can come to the trough. And they didn't care. They basically
And
redid.
other pundits are almost making it seem like this is a silly waste, but really, if the stations aren't built and proven to be built, there was no there was no money given out.
Yeah,
So
you have to get certified.
even if it was slower than expected, even if it's not as many states participated as was hoped, it's not like this was money that was frivolously given away and wasted. Because there were stipulations that they had to be built, they had to be proven, they had to be maintained. So this type of program at least had hurdles in place that the builders and the operators had to clear in order to see any federal funds coming their way.
Yeah, and then the number you kept hearing was like 8 states and $9 billion or $45 billion or whatever numbers they were using. But the fact that there were 9 states that actually had them in the ground and over 100 stations tells you that who knows where they got the numbers from, but they weren't accurate. And then, as Mark just pointed out, you don't get paid for the stations until they come online. So we didn't waste all
Yeah,
that money.
it was not a wasteful program. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see if the new administration heeds this ask to reevaluate what they've done. Not sure if they will. Not at all. But again, it's good to see that some of the legacy auto is at least they're asking for the right thing. As to whether or not they're doing it for the right reason, I don't know. But I would say that if you could promote charging in states, any additional fast charging that has to be maintained and come online in a certain manner, that in order to clear those funding hoops, I think is a good thing. More charging is better as long as it's maintained and it's operational. I think it's a plus.
Definitely. And even though he said I don't want to end it, blah blah blah, more drill baby drill, uh, he's still very receptive to the lobbying. So we'll see if they're effective.
Now let's talk about something else. Casey, you found this article that was on X about a bit of a surprise, which really came from the previous administration, correct?
Yes, yes, the same one that gave us the IRA and constantly thumbing their nose at Elon and Tesla and um, you did it, Mary, blah blah blah, and all the other stuff that people say happened or didn't happen. I always contended that their reaction to the Musk companies, at least Tesla and SpaceX, was, uh, you don't like participation trophies, right? Here's a forklift of cash at your loading dock. We need this, make it happen, and they just kept doing it. But they didn't cheerlead, they didn't attaboy, and so some people got their feelings hurt, and eventually those people getting their feelings hurt Elon's feelings, and oh look, they skipped us again, even though they only get skipped on some stuff like we talked about here the uh, semi truck chargers. They didn't get any money for that.
Right. So what was this new contract that we saw that Tesla was going to participate in or will participate in?
They haven't turned it down, and it hasn't been cut with Doge yet. So what we're looking at is a $400 million contract with the State Department for Tesla, and they are to build. They are to build armored. How do they phrase it? They would build armored Teslas.
So yeah, that sounds a lot like the Cybertruck already, since of course it can withstand certain caliber bullets. Interesting that if they maybe upgrade the steel on that vehicle, they could deflect more bullets. Maybe this is the armored personnel carrier that is coming the way of the U.S. State Department and other departments that need these type of vehicles.
Yeah, and that was a question of mine. On a traditional armored car, you're adding a bunch of stuff to the inside of the car to armor it. And we just saw they have the rock crawling kit is almost done. So depending on what thickness of plate that is, that might already cover some of these requirements. And then I was thinking, well, if the doors are already bulletproof to small arms at X distance, right? Instead of going the traditional route of putting stuff inside the doors and then um, trying to cover it so it's not as ugly on the inside, what if they replace that sheet steel with the right thickness of sheet steel, so it would look the same on the inside, same functional room, same shape on the outside, but just a little thicker, kind of
And a
kind of
little
like
heavier.
yeah, yeah, a lot heavier, and then people were talking about the armor glass, but the armor glass, if you remember, was actually to deploy on the Tesla Semi, so that you got less cracks and chips, because every one of those, depending on where you are, most places it'll put you down if you have any blemish in that windshield until it gets fixed. And they said, "Hey, this is strong, it's great, and let's put it on the Cybertruck." But they mentioned armor glass, and then they threw the ball, and they did it right when they were talking about the bulletproof on the doors, and everybody started to think it was bulletproof glass, which is not. So instead of the armor glass, or double up the armor glass, or take it out and put in traditional bulletproof windows. The only protrusions and weirdness you have at this point would be that big honking plexi on the other side of the actual glass. And I think it would be more functional and more useful other than the weight. But if you're not trying to haul heavy or carry too much inside, then if you use Cybertruck, the dual motor or Cyber Beast, it's already got a lot of capabilities. It's basically a 2-ton truck in a 1.5-ton body.
Yeah. So again, this is Tesla being really being included in a process for a unique vehicle that they have that probably makes sense for this application more than any other vehicle. So it will be interesting to see if Tesla plays ball. Are they going to be part of this? Again, probably good PR if they were. And of course, there's probably other companies out there that would like to buy this on a private basis as well. So they could, it could be a little bit of a niche type product that could work for individuals or groups that need that type of protection for their vehicles. But again, as
Yeah,
Casey has mentioned, they haven't accepted. We'll have to see if
I
this
thought they did accept
becomes a
it.
reality.
If it stayed over the administration, because this was December 13th was the last time it was modified, and that's amazing because they were right in the middle of campaigning for the other guy.
Yeah.
here's your contract, but the I'm curious now. Like you said, that there's a chance that they could do economies of scale and not just do the State Department, but just offer armored uh, Cybertrucks for people who need it, celebrities, banks, etc. And even for the bank, you could do a armored vault top, and then you could put the goods in there, the cash boxes, the jewelry, whatever, and it would burn a lot less diesel than the big honking Brinks trucks you got now.
Yeah. Well, we will see if that happens. In the meantime, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up on the video, press that subscribe. Follow us through the week on our X account at the Tesla Life is where you can find us on that particular handle. Casey, what do you got? What do you got for shout outs at the end of the show?
So next up, you've got me over at youtube.com/Casey Green. We're going to do a Let's Chat with Casey and Friends. That's Sunday at 1:10 p.m. Eastern-ish. Maybe a little bit late, maybe a little bit early. And but it'll run for a while. So if you just come in at that time, you'll find me. And then on Monday, you can catch us for the Tesla Life Express Edition 2, where we're going to do some more stuff like this. And then on Wednesday, catch us back live at the regular time, regular place, youtube.com/Tesla Life at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Exactly. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. And we will catch you next time. And together we'll find out what's happening in the Tesla Life.
Bring our future free from fossil fuels.
Bingo.